Hi, I'm Michelle. I keep wanting to say, hi, I'm Michelle and you're watching Disney Channel. I didn't even think I made a mouth. But no. I'm Michelle and this is Somewhere in Bookland. I'm really excited today. I'm wearing my Hogwarts alumni sweater. I don't know if you can see it. Hogwarts alumni. You know those things you get on Facebook sometimes that pop up and they're like, oh, you might like this sweater. Yeah, that's where I got this sweater from. So, today I'm going to be doing the 2016 end of the year reading survey, which I saw on Reading Realm and Books and Lala's page. I'll also link the original creator down below, and I'll link both Reading Realm and Books and Lala down below too. I'm going to do the same questions that Reading Realm did, which I believe are the same questions that Books and Lala did. The first question is, how many books did you read and did you reach your goal? I read 144 books last year and I did reach my goal. My goal was 100 books, so I surpassed it by 44 books. I was secretly aiming for 150. Like when I got to the 140 mark, I was like, oh, I could hit 150 this year. I could hit 150 this year. But then December came and I didn't read much of anything. I just relaxed because I got a break from work, a vacation from work, and so I relaxed. So that was nice. My most read genre of the year was surprisingly contemporary. The next question is the longest and shortest book you've read this year. The shortest book I read in December, and it was The Nightmare Before Christmas by Tim Burton. Which, I mean, look at that. You can't. Look at that. And then it has Jack, and it surprisingly doesn't have Oogie Boogie in it. It is not like the movie. But I couldn't, and that wasn't Jack that I showed you, that was Santa. I do realize that. There's Jack as Santa. And Zero is Rudolph. But the longest book I read was Oblivion by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I read the Lux series. I started it last year. I had never read it before. I mean, it's good. I like it. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I like it. This isn't that long of a book, obviously, but I finished this book, right? I got to the end of it, and then at the end of the book it says, I didn't plan on actually writing Obsidian, Onyx, and Opal, which is available in the digital version of Oblivion, but that is what happened. So you don't get a taste of what it's like in day and instead you get a whole heaping of it. And I was like, huh? Like, and I normally don't read the acknowledgements, but I read the acknowledgements in this one. And I was like, what do you mean? So then I downloaded the ebook version, and it's the first 4 books from his perspective. Or 3 books. 4 books? 3 books. It's more books than this one. This is just one book from his perspective, from Damon's perspective, if you haven't read this before. Lux is about Cat and Damon and beings from another planet. And so, yeah, I read the online one is like 1,000 something pages, the ebook online. The ebook version is like 1,000 pages, so I read that. And that was the longest book I read, which is actually kind of sad. It's more of a bind-up, but I count it as the longest book I read. The next question is your favorite book published in 2016. So I know there's a lot of problems with this book, and I know people say a lot of things about the relationships in this book, but oh my gosh. A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas is my favorite book published in 2016 because of Rysand and the Night Court, and I love it. And if you haven't read, like, I know people who don't really read, and I recommended the first book to them, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and they devoured it. And they devoured this book. And, like, I devoured this book. But this is my favorite book. If you haven't heard of A Court of Thorns and Roses yet, it's a retelling Beauty and the Beast with fae, and not the little fairies. Like, my friend doesn't like fairies, and she read that book and she loved that book. Because it's, like, she doesn't like little fairies, you know, like the little teeny tiny fairies that fly, like Tinkerbell. She doesn't like fairies like that. But those fairies are different fairies. So she read it. She loved it. We're both eagerly awaiting Akawar, Court of Winged Ruin. The next one is favorite debut book in 2016. And honestly, I don't even know if I read a debut book in 2016. Which is sad. I've purchased a debut book. I know for a fact because I purchased Labyrinth Lost, but I didn't read it. I don't think I read a debut book. I don't think so. I'm skipping that one. The next one is a book that lived up to the hype, and that is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. I finally read this trilogy, and oh my gosh, I love this trilogy. Like, it's basically about a girl and how she gets roped into like a battle between angels and I want to say the beasts, but I can't think of their name. But they're like animals. They're not demons, but they're like animals, but talking animals, but like awesome talking animals. And I just loved the series. Like I had heard so much good things about it, and I finally picked it up, and I totally agree with every good thing I heard about it. Another book that lived up to the hype, I know you only asked for one, like I know this, but I'm saying two, is The School of Good and Evil by Saman Chanini. This book also lived up to the hype. I've finished the first two. I still have to read the last one. I have the last one, I just have to read it. But this one's about two girls. One girl who thinks that she's going to go for, they get kidnapped by, I want to say the storyteller. Anyways, they get kidnapped in their town. There's this not rumor, but there's this thing where every so many years, two kids get taken. One to go to the school of good and one to go to the school of evil. So one who they think is like a prince or a princess, and one who they think is like an evil villain / witch. And there's this girl, and she thinks that she's gonna go to the school of good, and the other one's gonna go to the school of evil. And the other girl thinks the same thing, and it completely switches everything. Like, whoop, and it's good. Like, that's all I knew going into it, and it's good. I like it. The next book is a book that did not live up to the hype. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by not J.K. Rowling. That's all I have to say about this one. None of the characters were the characters I grew up with. That's a book that felt like the biggest accomplishment. I cannot think of one for this one. So I'm just going to go with Ashley Bell by Dean Koontz because it's kind of a chunker. But also because if you would have asked me when I was in high school, throughout my whole high school, I wasn't to say career, but my whole high school years, if you would have asked me who my favorite author was, I would have said it was Dean Koontz. That man right there. Because I just blew through his books. Like, my mom had a lot of his books, or still has, but she has a lot of his books, and I think the first one I read was Odd Thomas, and that book just I fell in love with him through that book, and I just read all of the books that she owns. I bought books that she didn't own. She read books that I flew through books. I think Odd Thomas, Forever Odd, Lightning. Now I can't even think of them. The Taking. Ooh, that one was good. His books, I love his books. They all have the same basic. This book's upside down. Look at this. This book, I have it upside down. So they all have the same. They're all not thrillers. I don't know. Oh, From the Corner of His Eye. That one's so good. I love Dean Koontz. I love Dean Koontz. If I could ever meet him, I don't even know what I would say. So, I hadn't read Dean Koontz in a while, so it was an accomplishment to pick one up and read one after so long. My favorite character, I'm just going to say it once more. My favorite character is Rysand. He's my favorite. Just because I don't know, my least favorite character, I don't even know of his name, and I don't want to ruin it because it's kind of a twist. So there's this book, The Dreamer by E.G. Mello, right? This is the like novella, The Dreamcatcher. The Divide's the second book. The Destin's the last book that came out this year. It's the last in the series, the trilogy. These books, the villain that you don't, like the villain in these books, I hate him. Because the couple, like, I just hate the villain in these books. Like, I hate him, which is a good villain. Like, if you caused me to hate your villain, then you're doing a good job. I don't want to like your villain, but I hate the villain in these books. I'm not going to tell you the name of this villain because, like I said, you need to not know it to read these books. But I'm not going to tell you who the villain is. I'm just going to say the villain, the main villain, I hate. My most shocking book moment. Okay. My most shocking book moment for this year came in The Last Star by Rick Yancey. And it wasn't a happy shock. I didn't like the ending of this book. I didn't like that this was the end of the trilogy. I did not like it. It reminds me of another book that I didn't like. I'm not going to say which book, because if I say it, then everybody will know what I mean. But, yes, bad shock. Bad. Like electrocution shock. This question's not on here, but I'm adding it. My least shocking moment was The Twist in Everything by Nicola Yoon. I liked this book, don't get me wrong. I liked it, but it was so predictable to me. I like predicting. I like trying to make predictions. Like, me and my friend growing up had this thing where if you don't say it, it's not, like, it doesn't count as a prediction. So we used to tell each other our predictions. And I told my girlfriend what my prediction was for this. She didn't believe me. And then it happened. I felt vindicated. I was like, I told you. And she hasn't read it, so she didn't really know. But I gotta say, I told you. So that was nice. Book that you pushed the most people to read in 2016? Oh, I skipped favorite couple. OTP, which I'm not answering because I can't think of one. Sorry. Like, I've read so many. You would think I've read so many contemporary books this year that I would have a favorite couple, but I just, like, I ship every time. Like, everything. I ship in everything. I have a ship for everything. The 100. Does this have to be about a book? I could tell you my favorite couple, OTP. The 100. Clark. If Bellamy and Clark don't get together on the show, I'm gonna be so sad because I love Bellamy. Like, he's gone through some tough times and he just needs to be cut a break. I love him. Book that you pushed the most people to read in 2016? I'm gonna say it's The Kiss of Deception. I know I've told quite a bit of people about this book, but don't know which one it really is. But I'm gonna say it's The Kiss of Deception by Mary Pearson. Which is about a book, it's a book about this girl who's supposed to get married and she runs away. She's a princess, not just any girl. She's supposed to get married, she runs away, and she's being hunted by the prince that she scorned and an assassin, and you don't know who's who, and I made a boo-boo, and I didn't realize you weren't supposed to know who was who. I thought I missed something. Like, I'm like, what the heck? What did I miss? Who's who? So I Googled it. Don't Google it. If you're going to read this book, and you haven't already, don't Google who's who. Just let it wait. Like you're supposed to. Don't be me. Like, I've also ruined another book by Googling it before because I was like, I have to Google it. I need to know. Yeah, don't Google. Don't Google. My favorite cover, book cover of the year, is Heartless. And not this cover, although this is a gorgeous cover, but this cover. Because this is a gorgeous cover. And then it's a crown and a Joker's Joker's hat for Jess. And oh, this is my favorite book cover of the year. I was trying to slide it back on, but I forgot that there's flaps. Yeah. Move Michelle. Let's see. Favorite adaptation. I'm going to be cheating on this one because I don't remember what adaptations I watched this year. So I'm going to say my favorite. Well, first off, I liked Shadowhunters and I have read the books and I like it. And yeah. I also think it's cheesy, but I like it. It's like a guilty cheesy. Like it's... So I'm going to go with, for my favorite one though, I'm going to go with The Martian by Andy Weir. I think I watched it this year or last year. Oh my gosh, was it last year? If it's last year, then I feel just smart. But if it wasn't last year, then I feel that's okay. I haven't read the book yet though, so I don't know if it was a good adaptation. I just enjoyed the movie. Yeah, I watched the movie without reading the book, but I bought the book. Yay. See, if I watch a movie and I like it, it'll make me want to read the book. Even though I already know, because I know the book's going to be different. What book made me cry the most? I don't know which book made me cry the most. I really don't. I do know the last book that made me cry just because I finished reading it like a couple of days ago. And did I mention I Miss You by Estelle Mascame? And it was the last book that made me cry. But this is the third book in the series. And this is a love story about a girl and her new stepbrother. So yeah. I guess this could be like a guilty read. Like, let me... They didn't grow up together. Let me just say that. She meets him and they're already older. Like, you can't knock that because I ship Jess and Rory and I think they did not get enough time in the reunion. But, you know, I also ship Lorelai and Luke. And if Lorelai's with Luke and Jess is with Rory, it's like the family is connected twice. So I can't hate on this. The book that made me laugh the most, again, I don't know what book made me laugh the most, but I do remember distinctively lacking. I do distinctively remember lacking. I remember laughing in Uprooted by Naomi Novik because Agnieszka, don't know how to say her name, but I thought she was a funny character. Like, she was good, but she was funny. And she did some funny things. But I loved this book. New favorite author you discovered this year? Okay. I'm probably way behind. Casey West. P.S. I Like You by Casey West is the first book that I used to discover Casey West this year. Like, I heard about this book. It sounded interesting. My cat's trying to reach under the door and get to me. But this book sounded interesting. I did not know that she was from, like, my town, basically. And so she had a signing release party for this book here in my town at a local bookstore. And so I got it signed. And then I read it that night, like, really quickly. And I went crazy. And then I read this one right after, The Fill-In Boyfriend. And then I went and bought this one on the fence and read it. And then I read The Distance Between Us. And then I read Pivot Point. And then I read Split Second. And now I'm all done. And I read all her books. All of them. See this? I've read them all. And I read all those this year. And she has 2 more books that I know are coming out next year. By Your Side and Lucky in Love. And I'm so excited for both of these. Like, you don't even know. I think one comes out in January. One comes out like a couple months later in February. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe one comes out in March or April, May. I don't know. But I'm so excited for these. And then the last question is, oh, there was a guilty pleasure read of the year. Should I re-say this one? This was my guilty pleasure read of the year. But my last question that I thought, because apparently I skipped the guilty pleasure one, is your favorite book you reread this year? Well, the last bookish question. And my favorite book that I reread this year, this is a really ugly copy. And I need to buy a pretty copy. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the favorite book I reread this year is Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. Look at this copy. Like, I've had this book since 6th grade, which is the first year I've read this book. And I've reread this book consistently ever since then, and I love this book. Like, but it's Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine. It's tore up. Like, it's tore up. I really need to invest in getting a hard copy edition because I will forever continue to reread this book, even though it's middle grade. Like, I love this book. It's a retelling of Cinderella, and I love it, and I will always love it. And she also has another book, The Two Princes of Barmar, that I also love, and another book, Ferris, which kind of ties into this book, which I also love, but this is my favorite, and it's been through some tough times. I mean, look at this. Look at this. When I read, I have to be careful because the last page isn't even connected anymore. And, like, okay, watch. This is how often I've reread this book. There's a paper in here that I found when I was flipping through it for a orthodontist appointment. I don't have braces. It's actually for my friend. I mean, I had braces. I thought this was mine at first, but this was my friend's orthodontist card. Appointment for 2008, December 2008. I was 18, so I reread it when I was 18. And then the last question is, were you happy with your reading year? What will you do different in 2017? I was happy with it. I would like to read longer books. So, you know, like I'll have a book, the Dean Koontz book, as my biggest accomplishment. I can hold up like a big old honker. And yeah, I posted a goals video, which I'll link below. On Wednesday I posted a goals video, so they're in there. Like what I would like to do. But overall I was happy. I read 144 books. I was happy. If I wasn't happy with that, then there was like, I am way happy with that. And that's all I have. My books are all over. And I have made a big mess. But I've had fun doing this. I don't know if it's a tag per se, but I've had fun doing this survey. So, thanks for watching. If you watch this whole thing, I'm still going to have to edit this down because it's like 30 minutes long right now. But I will edit it down and you'll watch the edited version. And thanks for watching. What was your favorite read of 2016? And your most recommended book? Like, what book would you recommend me to read? And if I haven't read it and I own it, then maybe you'll help me figure out what books I need to read, because I need to read my books here. And that's all I got for you. So like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to subscribe. I'm going to try to post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll see how that goes. Bye.